I hate to tell you this, but nobody cares about your data. Nobody cares about the data. They only care about what you do with the data. So good data strategy doesn't actually start with the data. A good data strategy is a business-led data strategy. That means your starting point is, what are the business outcomes that I'm looking for? What am I trying to create in terms of value for the business using the data? We don't start a data strategy with the data. And we certainly don't start it with technology. Business-led data strategy. So the way I suggest people doing this is you get the business people in the room and you understand where are the opportunities to create value. Increase the top line, more revenue. Increase the bottom line, less cost. Even better if you get both. But we identify specific business improvement opportunities. Those business improvement opportunities are going to be quantified in terms of business impact models. What is the impact if I do this thing? By the way, generating a report doesn't have any business impact unless that report allows you to take action to create a better outcome. So think about all the way through what business processes have to change and what value is going to be created. A business-led data strategy will first enumerate these business improvement opportunities, associate business impact models with them, go through a prioritization process because the business impact models need to be risk adjusted, especially relative to organizational readiness, because your biggest risk is not technology risk, it's organizational adoption, it's organizational readiness. So we take these bios, business improvement opportunities, and we make a list and we prioritize them. And then we create a matrix. I call it an opportunity matrix. Here are the business improvement opportunities. Here are the elements of data that you need. Now we start with subject areas and then we drill down to facets. So we're not going down to individual data elements, but subject areas and facets within those subject areas. And you start to look for where are the synergies in using that data across the business improvement opportunities. But remember, we're not prioritizing data. We're prioritizing business improvement opportunities. And once we prioritize the business improvement opportunities, we're going to look to see how we can have the synergies of data and reuse of data. What you're going to find in my experience is there are huge opportunities for reuse of data. That opportunity matrix allows you to lay out a strategy for deploying the capabilities required to monetize the business improvement opportunities, but deploying in an effective way, reusing the data. Data is a wonderful resource because it's not use and consume and it goes away. The more you use data, the more you reuse the data, the higher the value gets. The higher the data quality comes, the better the service levels are. So we're going to prioritize the business improvement opportunities. That's going to drive the priorities of the data that we're going to bring into the ecosystem. And then based on the business improvement opportunity, we can define the service levels. How often do we need to get the data? How up to date does it need to be? What is the performance for accessing the data? What's the availability? What's the data quality? Data quality is never perfect. If you have perfect data quality, it means either you haven't looked or you spent too much money on it, right? There's no such thing as perfect data quality. So we're going to make the right investments in data quality based on a business improvement opportunity. We'll make the right investment on the service levels for data freshness based on the business improvement opportunities. And as we make those investments, we're creating a business case. And once we do all that stuff, then we can choose the technologies. Technologies come much later in the process. Don't lead with the technology. In fact, don't even lead with the data. Lead with the business improvement opportunities. And this opportunity matrix is a very intuitive way to explain to senior management why it's important to have a data strategy for reuse of the data. Because because they can understand this matrix, they can understand the reuse of data, and that data strategy means that you don't have a bunch of point solutions where every solution has its own copy of the data, 17 copies of transaction detail in slightly different forms. That's too high a cost. It's going to reduce your return on investment. It's going to create more tech debt. That's not the best strategy. So a data strategy is very important, but make sure it's a business-led data strategy.